Okay, wonderful. Again, thank you for attending Transition Tuesday. And we have with us Jill Larmett. She is from American Job Centers, and I will let you introduce yourself.
Sorry about that. My
I was
mic
having a
didn't
hard
work.
time finding, I was trying to remember which platform I was on as well. So
Right.
thank you, Jill.
Okay. Is everybody seeing the present the oh, I see. We have the Spanish version. I'm sorry.
Correct.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Nice to see you all. Thank you for being here. My name is Jill Armett, and I am the Disability Resource Coordinator with Capital Workforce Partners. We are the Workforce Development Board for the North Central region. We cover 37 municipalities. So basically, we're from like Enfield down to Bristol and all those neighboring towns. And I help to provide technical assistance in the American Job Center system, which we're going to talk about this evening, um, to ensure that our centers are accessible, not only physically but accessible to our programs and to communications. So that's one of many hats that I wear. And next slide, please. So we'll talk about, what the American Job Centers are, and then I will do a quick review of the adult programs, and I'll spend more time on our youth programs, and then we'll talk about how to access the services. There are a few pages of resources that you all get when you get a copy of the PowerPoint, and we'll have more than enough time for questions and answers. Next slide, please. Okay, so I wish can we figure out, is there a way to see a show of hands who has heard of the American Job Centers? Has anyone heard of them? Okay. The ones that I can see, are you seeing any hands, Laura?
I
I'm not
am
seeing.
not, but I,
I
I put a thumbs up, but I don't really count because I haven't
okay.
seen you present.
Right, Ryan has. So okay, perfect. All right. Thank you. That's helpful to know. All right. Because I know I've spoken before and I don't know if we have any repeat, visitors. So what I want you to know is the American Job Centers, or the AJCs, going forward, we call it the AJC. Welcome to the world of acronyms. They're not just buildings. It's a system. It's a network of many agencies that are working together under that American Job Center umbrella. This is not just unique to Connecticut, this is a nationwide program. And the American Job Centers provide free pre employment and training opportunities to job seekers of working age who have a Social Security card, or they have working papers to work in the United States. So basically, we are the public workforce system, all are welcome. But it's important to know that we're not a rehabilitation program, and I'll break the services down for you throughout the slides. Okay, next slide, please, Laura. So basically, the American Job Centers, they're spearheaded by the Department of Labor, who works in partnership with the workforce development boards. Okay, and other main close partners in our system are the Borough of Rehabilitation Services, Services for the Blind, Adult Education, and our Connecticut State Community Colleges. So there are key partners in the American Job Center. Okay. Next slide, please. So there's other required partners like the Job Corps. There's so many. I'm not even going to bother going through the slide because you'll all get a copy, of this PowerPoint. But I want you to just be able to visually see the partnerships that are happening under the American Job Center umbrella. Okay. Next slide, please. So this slide, I wanted to make you aware that there's 5 workforce boards here in our little state of Connecticut. Okay. Now the workforce boards are responsible for overseeing the one-on-one services that are run in the American Job Center, but also they're responsible for our youth programming. So I wanted to make clear that depending on what part of the state that you're from, which is your workforce board. Okay. Next slide, please. So how do you tell which one is your work is your workforce board? Here's a little map for you so you can identify your town and the board that goes with it. At the end of this PowerPoint, there are links to the workforce boards. Um, what I want to point out in this slide is that um, sadly, it the workforce board regions are different from the DDS, Department of Developmental Services region. They're different from the Borough of Rehab Service region. They're different from Department of Mental Health Addiction Services. We all have different regions. So sometimes it can get a little confusing to families, but just know that I'll talk about it at the end of this presentation, but it's okay to work with two or more agencies and it's okay to cross lines. Okay. So we'll get into that important, but this a little bit later, but this map will be kind of important for you to identify. Okay. Next slide, please, Laura. All right. So I'm going to start with services, the core services. These are like the self services that are available to people of all working age. Okay. Um, and all of our centers have career centers. They might call it a resource library, depending on where you are in the state. But we have computers with high speed internet where people can come and work on their job search. They can work on their resumes. We have a fax machine. We have postage. We can't mail your CLNP bill. Has to be job related. But if somebody's mailing a resume or mailing a thank you note, we'll be able to run that through our machine at the end of the day. And take care of that for our job seekers. Anybody needs to fax something job related, we could take care of that as well. So people can use our centers. There's up-to-date labor market information for people who are just exploring, especially, our folks in transition. What are the hot industry sectors? What employers are hiring? We have all up-to-date information on that. There's career assessments. Some are done in person, could be done in person. Most of them are done online. But we have access to career assessments to kind of figure out which way you want to go. Um, we have resume paper, so if somebody's going to a job fair, they can come in and print off copies of their resume on nice paper. One of the biggest things, if you take anything away from this presentation today, is that the employers are very much our customers too. We're trying to create skilled workers to take over the jobs that are in demand today. And so the employers not only look for our job seekers, they come to our job centers and they do on-site recruitments. So a lot of the folks that I work for in my region with the transition coordinators I work with, they might bring a couple of students through these job fairs um, for interview experience or for networking opportunities. So it's been really good because if the student doesn't know that they need to target their resume for every job that they're applying for, their resumes are not going to get through the applicant tracking systems. They're very much going to be floating in cyberspace. So this is a guaranteed way to get face to face with an employer to be able to hand deliver your resume and hope to get an interview for the employer. So that's something that folks definitely want to take advantage of. Okay. Next slide, please. Oh, you know what? Before you go, if you haven't gone yet, before you go, Laura, we also have career net readiness workshops. Oh yeah, no, we're perfect. We have career readiness workshops, and those are done by the Department of Labor, and they're in resume writing. They're a little high level. Um, but I found that some of the transition coordinators that I work with, what they'll do is they'll register for the workshop and then they'll put it on the smart board and then they watch it as a group and then they can talk about, what they learned afterwards. And it's kind of nice backup because sometimes the teachers are saying, well, this is what I say, but my student doesn't believe me. But then they take these workshops and say, oh yeah, you said that. And now all of a sudden they're validated. So it is a possibility. Like I said, they're free, but there's resume writing, there is job search strategies and interview technique. There's a higher level LinkedIn if people, depending on what, career pathway they're going into. So I'll show you how to access these in a little bit. But there's free workshops, free resume critiques, um, where if you were to pay a resume critiquer, they could charge anywhere from 250 to $1,000. So we'll do resume critiques for free. Excuse me one second, I keep getting a Teams pop up here. Um, um, they won't type the resume for you, but if you have something on paper, if you bring it on a flash drive, or you can access it, they'll make it pretty for you. All right, but you got to have something for them to start with. But they'll do resume critiques, they'll help with cover letters, and that kind of thing. And all these services, again, are free. Um, the Department of Labor also offers career counseling, and a lot of people don't know this. So basically, they're like a one and done, maybe a 2 and 3 meetings tops. I'm a customer of the Department of Labor counselor, so I'm very proud of their services. And this is just to kind of brainstorm. I think I want to go in this direction, but I'm not sure. These are my skills, these are my interests. And then they kind of help you to navigate our system. They'll say, "No, I think that's a good fit and this is a good job and you need training for that. This is the kind of certification," and then they might refer you to one of our programs. So it's a good starting point for that resume critique or that career exploration conversation. And I'll show you how to access that in a little bit, but you could see on the bottom is the job form, so it's real easy. You just click on that link and then a checkbox will come up, and I'll show you live how to do that, okay? And then you can schedule an appointment. But this is something, again, it's part of the self-serve that anybody of working age can do. Okay. Next slide, please. So there are also one-on-one services. We refer to it as the WIOA program for now. That's our funding. It stands for the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act. And these are like intensive services. You will create an IEP, an individual employment plan. And then based on that plan will be how we navigate you again through our system. But what will happen in these one-on-one services is there will be pre-employment preparation, the resume, the cover letter, the interview, the job search strategies, career exploration, assessments if needed. All that will happen beforehand. And then we pay up to $7,500 for scholarships. We don't pay for an associate degree or bachelor degree. We pay for nationally recognized credentials. So these are quick trainings, and it will be a certificate, for example, in manufacturing or healthcare, all sorts of healthcare like phlebotomy, CNA, direct care support, medical assistant, EKG tech, sterile tech, administrative, those kind of things. And also information technology. There's different trainings for IT. There's training for transportation and logistics, CDL licenses. Again, if somebody were to come and ask for dog grooming, not sure if we could do that. It depends on the needs of the industry sectors. What are the in-demand jobs? What do employers need skilled workers for? Okay. But there is a possibility, to pay for training, which is a nice little thing. The one-on-one services, the WIOA program, as we say, um, uh, does have an eligibility component. So there's 3 ways to be eligible. One is a dislocated worker, which means you're collecting unemployment insurance. The other one is a low-income adult. If a person discloses that they have a disability, they'll be considered a family of one, so they often qualify as a low-income adult. And then the last way to be eligible is basic skills deficient. This is only if they don't qualify as a dislocated worker or low income adult. What we'll do is we will provide the CASAS, which is an 8th grade level assessment in math and reading. And so based on the score of that CASAS test will determine if the person is basic skills deficient, and then they would be eligible for the one-on-one services. Okay. Next slide, please. Before I go into additional programs, I just want to check the chat real quick because I saw some questions flying in and I don't want to get too far ahead. Um, Adaptability. And you emailed the power. Okay. Just wanted to make sure before I moved on. Um, so these particular programs that I'm talking about are referring to the North Central region, the Greater Hartford North Central region. But the other workforce boards also have additional programs. So many of them have programs for returning citizens, um, nice way of saying ex-offenders. We try not to use that terminology anymore. So in North Central, we call it the Best Chance Program. So people will get pre-employment services coupled with um, opportunities for training, whether it be through WIOA, but they also offer the jobs funnel. So I want to talk about this. So in North Central, we have the jobs funnel program, and this is for people who are interested in construction, in the construction field. And what it is it's a 1 week boot camp, and they'll earn their OSHA 10 certi. These are all nationally recognized credentials. They'll earn their OSHA 10 certificate. They'll earn a scaffolding certificate, forklift safety, and a traffic flagger certificate. Once they get all those certificates, then they can apply to go into masonry or carpentry training. Now, interestingly enough, this does not require a high school diploma, or you could be even be working. The only requirement is that you're interested in a job in construction. So I just had a great success story with a student. He is on the spectrum. He's from the West Hartford transition program. And he was able to go to that week certification and earn those certifications. And I want to say next week he finishes his masonry training. So I'm really excited and hoping that that will be a pipeline, to the Masons Union. And I'm really excited to see the outcome of this. So that's been really, really wonderful opportunity working with the West Hartford Transition Program. Um, so just want to let you know that, do a little shout out that the jobs funnel is run through the best chance program, but you do not have to be a returning citizen to be able to get into that program. Additionally, we have the Free to Succeed program, and that's a retention program for returning citizens. However, they also help with pardons and certificates of employability at no charge. The only charge would be to submit the application. We have Maturity Works. This is a statewide program. This is helping people 55 or older. I know this is Transition Tuesday, but there could be a parent or, a relative who has been out of the workforce for a while and they're struggling to get back in. So a lot of people will start out, kind of learn new skills or get their, confidence back up, get their skills refreshed, and then we can slowly but surely, go into um, a permanent job in the workforce. So that could be a good opportunity for some folks. Again, if needed, the mortgage crisis program. Unfortunately, it's not mortgage. It's not financial relief for mortgages. However, they'll give resources to individuals who are 60 days or more behind in their mortgage, and maybe they're not getting a job because they lack qualifications, so they can write out an individual training scholarship immediately. They don't have to go through the process that you would have to go through in our WIOA one-on-one services for training scholarships. So that's helped a lot of people to be able to save their houses. We have veteran services. So if any family members, are veterans, veterans want to work with veterans, bottom line. So we do have vet reps. They do work out of the comprehensive job center. So, and what that means is that the Department of Labor is co-located with them. So there's more services in those comprehensive offices. So the vet reps are out of the comprehensive offices, but they'll go anywhere. They'll meet their customers in the satellite offices as well. And then lastly, the American Job Centers are now part of the, they're now approved employment networks for the Ticket to Work program. And if you're not familiar with the Ticket to Work program, it's a free and voluntary program for people who are receiving Social Security disability or SSI benefits, and they're trying to get off benefits. Then they can go into the ticket program and they'll work with somebody who will help them with the benefits counseling to learn how work will impact their benefits and what work incentives and safety nets are available. Because not every job seeker is going to need like a vocational rehabilitation services. Some of them, are capable of utilizing the American Job Center system. And so this might be an opportunity for people to get help. Um, Next slide, please. So, as I mentioned, the Department of Labor can help with resume critiques, they can help with cover letters, they can help with some career exploration, access to assessments, and then they also have the career counselors. Here is the job form to be able to request their services. Um, I'm still going to hold off on my demonstration. If we can go to the next slide, please. Okay, so here's my demonstration. The nice thing about the American Job Center is as long as you register in CT Hires, it's real easy. You open cthires.com, and that little top right corner there is you click there to register. Takes like 10 minutes just to put the basic demographic information and it's not that bad. And then you can use the services literally the same day. You don't have to wait 3 months, you don't have to go to an orientation. You have to pre-process people on what to expect. There's an application, there's an orientation, there's an intake specialist meeting with a case manager, and then working with a career advisor, developing an employment plan. It's a time-consuming process. So I would welcome you to contact me and or a representative from your area, from your, region, so I can kind of like walk you through the steps, on the best way to navigate the system. If you are a provider on this call, please, if you say, "Oh my God, I have 3 students that this would be great, this would be wonderful," or "Oh, my daughter, this would be great for my daughter," contact me. And even if you're not in my region, I will hook you up with the person in your region. I would never want to just send somebody down there blindly. It's nice to have those soft handoffs, so that we can be sure that we're navigating you in the right direction. Okay. So could you give me permission to share my screen?
Yes, I will. And we do have a question in the chat. I'm not sure if you
Oh,
saw it.
sure. Yeah. Yeah. So as I mentioned, we are the public workforce system. So anybody can use our services as long as you're of working age and can legally work in the United States. It doesn't matter, if you're a youth, if you're an adult, if you have a disability, if you don't have a disability, if you're a returning citizen, anybody can use our services. So we don't when I see do you have opportunities, I don't want to sell us as a job placement agency. We're not really a job placement agency. What we're doing is we're giving you the tools you need to get the jobs. We're teaching you how to do a resume, how to do an effective job search, how to interview, and giving you the tools to need. That said, some of our training programs do have pipelines, so to speak, with employers. Once they get the certification, there's a pipeline to the employer. So there could be a placement, but I don't want to sit here and say that we have a bunch of jobs that we hand out to people. I hope that answered your question, Ryan. Okay, well, hopefully. Okay, thank you.
Yes, it's a very lovely background. Very-
Yeah, sorry. I tried to clean it up. You should have seen. I had like 100 icons on there. I said, "Oh, I'm going to share my screen. This is going to be so embarrassing." So I cleaned it up just for you. So thank you for this opportunity. Because without you allowing me to be here tonight, I would not have a nice clean screen. Okay, so this is the CT hires, folks. Um, And then right here in the top right corner, this is where you would click to register. But what I wanted to show you for today's purposes, once you're registered, again, you can use our services the same day. So here's a little cheat. If you come down here under the job seekers to the Connecticut Department of Labor icon here, logo, if you click on the logo, it'll take you to the Department of Labor site. And then what it makes you do is put in your zip code. I don't get that, but it does. So you put in your zip code, and as soon as you do, that job form that I referred to twice, that this direct link is also on the slides, if you choose to use the link from your slides, it'll come up, and then here you go. You can say, I want help with job search assistance, I want help with my resume, I want career counseling, I want interview skills. Okay, I want to know about training programs. So you could start here. It's a good place to start, just to kind of get navigated in the right direction. And then you would put in your name and your email and your number. I'm not a robot. And then you hit submit. And then within 24 to 48 hours, somebody will call you for an appointment. So it's pretty easy, pretty easy. So I just wanted to show you that. I also want to show you, this is really important. Under the job seekers, there are links you guys can play around it with exploring careers. Um, there's labor market information. You can play around with that. But what I wanted to show you was the workshops under the job seekers. It's the very last link. Then you click on the link. These are all hyperlinks. And you click on the link. And again, like if you're a teacher, a coordinator, if you personally wanted to register and then you have a classroom, you know, um, for your students to watch it together. So you could see, like, I'm seeing off the top of my head, we have interview strategies and technique. Okay. Some of these are in other regions, so they might be in person. Okay. So make sure you check out where you are. But if you were interested, say in this interview class, right, and the strategies, you click on it and, then it gives you the information. Okay, so this is on this at this time. Oh wow, that's a 2-hour workshop. Oh, that's a long workshop. You can find out what's happening. And again, these are all done on Zoom right now. And then you click sign up to register. So it's pretty easy to get to the workshops. And then most importantly, again, if this is your only takeaway from today's training, take advantage take advantage of these employer recruitments. Okay. Um, I know we have one coming up in Hartford. I just saw the thing, but I'm not sure if it made the calendar, but regardless. So if you hover, so right now I'm on the 19th, I'm on Lamontville, if there's any Eastern people here. If you hover over it, it's going to tell you what companies are going to be there. So, there's going to be Aerotech, General Dynamics, Electric Boat's going to be there, CW Resources, Learn, um, Mosaic. So there's all the different types of jobs, of employers that are going to be there. So again, this is guaranteed face-to-face, opportunities to meet with employers. And then you would double click on it and you register. You do need to register to attend these so that they can control the crowds. So great, great, great resource. And then I want to show you one more thing, if you can bear with me. Under this side right here, under the resources, y'all, see where it says training providers. You want to click on that. Okay, and then this is what you're looking for. You're looking for ETPL. That's eligible training provider list. So these are the trainers who have been approved by the Department of Labor to get WIOA funding, reimbursement. Okay. So you can certainly use the filters. I'm not going to for the sake of time today. But you could see, okay, so if an accounting certificate, it's done by CT State. Oh, it's going to be in Enfield. So this training is going to be at his Nuntuck, and it's $5,827. Oh, that's great because I can get up to $7,500 for a scholarship. And then you can click on it. too. I know this was probably a bad example, but you could click on it and then it tells you, a little bit more about where it is, when it is. It's a 52-week program, it's weekly, it's hybrid, so it'll tell you more about the program. So if you're doing that career exploration, with your students to decide if, oh, maybe transitioning to the American Job Center is a smarter way to go, because my student is interested in this and he doesn't really need a bachelor, he or she doesn't need a bachelor's degree. Really, all they need is a certificate to be a CNA or a manufacturing person or whatever. I just want you to be able to start, knowing these resources for some career exploration. So I hope that was helpful. I'm a visual learner, so I wanted to take time out of this presentation and physically show you those two resources.
Can I ask you a quick
Um,
question? I'm sorry.
yeah, sure. Hi, Helen.
Um, hi. So where's the funding at again for the reimbursement?
It's WIOA. It stands for the Workforce Innovation Opportunity Act.
Okay, you said that earlier. I just couldn't remember.
Yep. No, that's okay. I think we're in the middle of trying to renegotiate, the contract. It might have a new name, the American something fund or whatever. But for now, that's the funding. And so what happens is, Federal Department of Labor sends it down to the states, and then the states funnel it to the workforce boards to help run the programs.
Thank you.
Mhm. Next slide, please. How much time do I have?
About 20 minutes.
Oh, perfect. Okay. Um, so these were the links I just showed you. So next slide, please. All right, so now I want to spend the most time on the youth programs. Um, I again, the youth programs are run through the workforce development boards. Sometimes they're physically run in the American Job Centers themselves, or sometimes they're at the providers, depending on, which region you're in. Okay, so I'll talk first about all of the workforce boards offer out of school youth programs. The nice thing with that Workforce Innovation Opportunity Act legislation is our youth programs changed from age 21 to 24. So it's really important, folks, if you have your students that are aging out at, 21 and 22 years old, but they're not quite sure about higher ed, they're not quite ready to go in the workforce, this might be a really good opportunity for the people who are in that in between to have another 2 years of a little bit more supported assistance. Okay. Again, we are the public workforce system. We're not rehabilitation, so we don't have job coaches. We don't have rehabilitation people with like master's degrees in rehabilitation. But we have skilled workforce development professionals who can help with that pre-employment learning. The programs pay for training up those certificates. They also have paid work experiences as well. Okay, so I'm going to do a breakdown of that in a minute. But while I'm on this slide, there's also Youth Build. There's Youth Build in Hartford and New Haven. So this is for people who are interested in carpentry skills. They can just funnel right through there and not have to worry about going into the WIOA youth program. All of the workforce boards have a summer youth program. This starts at age 14 and those will be more in-house experiential kind of discovery, maybe working with the provider. Sometimes they go in the community, maybe they'll work on a mural or do some sort of a campaign in the community or something like that. But those start at age 14 and go up to 24 for the summer youth. And excuse me, it's a lottery, so it's first come first serve. So anybody who's here from North Central Region, March 17th, Capital Workforce Partners website, our application will be live. So you want to start keeping an eye out early, spring for the summer youth application, because again, it's a first come, first serve. So now I'll talk about the one-on-one WIOA youth services. So you need to be out of school, okay? So this won't work for somebody who's in transition and their diploma's being withheld, sadly. I've tried to get around it, and they need to have the diploma in hand. That said, we can certainly start the process. So if somebody's going to age out, in June, we can at least start the paperwork and get the ball rolling in May, so that there's a little bit of a flow and they're not spending the summer playing video games, right? We're getting that flow going through. Um, or we start with applying for the summer youth, right, employment. So that's an option. So this is I don't need to read the screen, but there is an eligibility component. But if the person identifies as a person with a disability, again, low income adult, they're considered a family of one. They will be eligible. Okay. Um, Okay, so the programs are going to vary in the region, because again, we're trying to concentrate on the needs of the employers. Okay, so in North Central, we're focusing on manufacturing. We have culinary. We have healthcare, all sorts of healthcare. We do the allied health trainings. But those are our big ones, and some IT, but culinary, healthcare, manufacturing are big ones. In the Eastern region, they have the pipeline to electric boat. So, and they work really closely with not only the American Job Center, but also with vocational rehabilitation with BRS. They have a great pipeline connection to electric boat. So they're focusing on manufacturing and healthcare. Um, um, I have to bring up my cheat sheet. Sorry. Bear with me, guys. Okay, here we go. So New Haven has healthcare, information technology, business and transportation. The Eastern again is the healthcare and the pipeline for manufacturing. Bridgeport also has a youth build program, and then they have a tech ready program and a reentry program. So again, you do need to contact your regions. I just went on their website, so I don't have a lot of detailed information for you. And then Waterbury, they have it's a career aware program. So they're doing a lot of work with career exploration. They have manufacturing program. And Waterbury has a very robust summer youth program. They're doing some good work down there. Really good employer connections with their summer youth program. Um, yeah, so that's like the best I could do for the breakdown. So um even though the trainings might vary, the services might vary, like some of the providers might help with a GED if somebody dropped out of school, some might help with financial literacy, some might help obtain a driver's license. It really, again, it depends on what our funding looks like, it depends on the region. If you're going to Waterbury, you'll get more than you will in the Torrington office. It will change, okay? Um, so I just want to kind of be transparent there, all right? But regardless of where you go, all of the programs are going to offer that case management support, the soft skills training, the pre-employment training. They will pay for training scholarships. The training scholarships are usually in a community college setting in case there's any kind of accommodations that might need to be made. You can work with the on-site campus advocates for those accommodations, but some are also offered in-house, like the Serve Safe or the customer service certifications. Those are likely going to be done in-house by the staff, okay? They'll get a paid work experience, which is nice. They'll have those industry recognized credentials, and they they get help with job placement services, okay? And then there's a 1 year retention for the youth services. Okay, next slide. Okay, and then lastly, I just want you to understand, um, I've kind of reiterated several times, we're the public workforce system. We're not rehabilitation. We don't have job coaches. We don't have training. We don't have master's degree. Um, but we have free training. We have free resources. We have access to assessments and labor market information and training scholarships. There's so much that our students can be taking advantage of. And it's okay to work with another agency, and you should, because no one agency can fulfill all your needs. They can't. We don't we have certain line items and our funding requires us to act a certain, to spend a certain way. So as I told you at the very beginning of this presentation, BRS is a partner in the American Job Center. Services for the Blind is a partner in the American Job Center. We do partner with Department of Developmental Services. We do partner with Department of Mental Health and Addiction Services. Um, so we can leverage our resources. Let us do what we do well. Let us do that pre-employment career exploration. But then maybe those other agencies will take on the job placement because they can provide the onboarding supports. They can address the barriers if there are any. They can provide that job coach if needed. They can provide that on the job training reimbursement to the employer if needed. So we're not duplicating our services. We're leveraging our resources. It works well. It's a great model. It's actually such a good model that stemmed back from the very first grant I started working on in 2009, the Disability Program Navigator grant. It's such a good model that it's actually in legislation now, this language integrated resource team. I like to call it an IRT, an IRT or an IRT. I think IRT, let's do an IRT. I think that's kind of more fun, but it's actually legislative language, like we're required you know, to partner together and leverage resources. Because in many instances, like for BRS to partner with us, maybe they don't need a community rehab provider. There's a shortage of community rehab providers. There's a shortage of job developers. So, maybe by partnering with us for the ones, who are able, again, we are not for everybody. And I invite you to case conference with me, to see if we're the right, program. But just know that it's okay. It's okay to work and help your students, help your job seekers to advocate for who should be on that team. No one team should look the same. I've done teams with parents, with social workers, with case managers, with parole officers, psychiatrists, benefits counseling. I've done IRTs with BRS, with DDS, with Department of Mental Health Addiction Services, with Department of Labor and the Workforce Boards and benefits counseling, all on one team. Multiple state agencies all on one team. So one's doing the paying for the training, one is taking care of medication management, the other one's taking care of the job development, onboarding supports, so that again, we're all sharing our resources. We're not duplicating our services. And it's going to be very confusing for the student. Maybe you have a student who's in level up, now they're in transition services, and they're planning to go to adult services, but you decided, oh my God, that jobs funnel training would be really good. I'm going to put them in that jobs funnel training. And they don't tell their BRS person that they're working with us. Well, shame on us all for not sharing the information, because BRS could have them, on a plan to work at Walgreens, hypothetically, and we have a plan to get them into the trades. We want to get them, into a high paying job, right? And we're on totally different pages. So it's really important to teach disclosure. Hey, I'm working, I'm working with Helena at BRS. So that we can start with the releases of information and coordinate this integrated resource team and work
Just,
collaboratively together.
that's
And I
great.
believe
Um,
we're done.
I,
And let's just go
oh,
through real quick, and then I can answer any questions. I want to show you, there's a couple slides of resources
perfect.
and a couple more. I don't know, did I put my contact information on the first page? think I did. I can tell you.
I think so. Yep.
I did.
So for families who are on tonight, let's say their young adult is working with BRS and they're in a transition program, they can
Yep.
just ask for an ERT team or disclose that and suggest it. So I think it's a secret, like, this best kept secret that not very
Right.
many people are aware that you can do that and ask for that.
Yeah, that's why I ended with that. So that
Perfect.
maybe that's the one thing that will stick, right? It's okay to work with more than one agency. Yeah,